All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Allow me to be the bearer of good news. Now, myself and Sister Sandy have often talked about this over and over and over again because it's no secret that our government is doing whatever it can to get the guns out of the people's hands. Well, anyway, I got a news report right here. And this news report is actually talking about some of the same things that we've discussed here straightway. And it probably is a good idea if everybody all across this nation starts showing up at these, what do they call them, gun buyback shows. Because the only thing that the government is offering people are vouchers, some type of cards or something like that, pennies on the dollars for weapons. But let me read you this article because I don't want to do it any injustice whatsoever at all. So let's go ahead and delve off in this article just for a second. Tuesday, January 29, 2013. Backfire. Seattle gun buyback turns into gun show. Backfire. Look at this. All right. Leave it to the enterprising Americans to always find a 100 or a loophole in the midst of ever-expanding government regulation, while thousands of Seattle residents lined up for hours to trade their handguns, rifles, and family heirlooms away in exchange for up to $200 in gift cards as part of the city's latest gun buyback program. Gun collectors who have seen prices for assault rifles and firearms accessories almost triple since November took advantage of the huge opportunity. Police stood in awe as gun enthusiasts and collectors waved wads of cash for the guns being held by those standing in line for the buyback program. Police officers in Seattle, Washington held the first gun buyback program in 20 years this weekend underneath Interstate 5. And soon found that private gun collectors were working a large crowd as little makeshift gun shows began dotting the parking lot and sidewalks. Some even had cash for guns. Signs predominantly, or what is that? What did I leave off at? People that had arrived to trade in their weapons for $100 or $200 buyback gift cards, $100 for guns, shotguns, and rifles, $200 for assault weapons, soon realized that gun collectors were there and paying top dollar for collectible firearms. So, as the line for the camp got longer, the longer people began to jump ship and head over to the dealers. John Diaz, Seattle police chief, wasn't pleased. Who cares if you're not pleased? Who cares? With the turn of events stating, I prefer they wouldn't sell them, but admittedly, it's perfectly legal for private individuals to buy and sell guns. Look, big capital letters for now. Y'all see how that, do y'all remember the movie 300? I want to use this as an example. You had the Persians who wanted to come and just take over the Greeks. All right? Of course, the Greeks were ready to fight. That's the same thing we got going on in this country right here. We have legislative officials, so-called elected officials, people in law enforcement. They have a way that they think. And the general public has a way that they think. The majority of the public believe in the old values, but some people choose to opt in with the system. And they choose to be with the system. And this is the conflict we're having. And it's an age-old conflict. And it's not about to stop anytime soon. Let me see if I can figure out where I was and finish this real quick. All right. Mayor Mike McGinn said at the news conference that private transactions are a loophole that needs to be closed. So you better believe that up in Seattle, Washington, because given the midst of these events right here, they're going to do everything they can to stop private sales of guns. It's like the other day we talked about how did our country now want to legalize 11 million what they call illegal aliens as long as they pay their taxes. And then, of course, you know, it's always about money because we're bankrupt and insolvent as a country. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to collapse, because we are going to collapse. And you have to understand, I hate to say stuff like that as much as you hate to hear it. I really truly do, because I know the pain, I know the suffering that it's going to cause. Most people are not familiar with humanity and things that will quickly go awry, and how things and turns of events can quickly change in the midst of a collapse. That's the reason why our government is trying to disarm the people, get the arms out of their hands, because they're trying to do what they can on their part using psychological warfare to lessen the fight that they already know that's coming their way. I mean, it's inevitable. History proves it out. Those of us who are history buffs, we know that a revolution is coming. People hate to hear it. It's almost like it's a word you don't even say under your breath. You know, it's kind of like that word nigger. Don't say that word nigger. Depends on the education level. See, a lot of times they've taken words that is actually been used or meant to be used to actually convey the right thoughts, and people have demonized them, and people have used them in negative and derogatory ways in order to cause insult to injury. And most people have no idea of the etymology or the origin of the word, but they do know how to use the inflection of the word or a certain tone of vernacular in order to try to do what they can to cause as much pain as possible. But that's where education comes in. You knowing who you are and being settled with who you are. So we got a fight on our hands, and the government is fighting. The people are fighting back, and these gun owners, these people who want to buy guns, they're fighting back. But you better be watching out, Seattle, Washington, because I'm going to tell you right now that your government is getting ready to make moves to stop you being able to buy guns from the public. Now, let me see. Mayor Michael McGinn said at the news conference that the private transactional loophole needs to be closed. There's no background checks, and some guns could be exchanged on the streets that shouldn't be in circulation. But Taylor, whatever that first name is, a previous gun retailer attending the event in hopes of buying weapons, asked, why not offer them cash versus a gift card? I'm still taking the guns off the streets. They're just going into my safe. And I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And pictures from the gun buyback and turned out in the show down in Seattle. You know, you Americans, I don't understand what's wrong with you people. Why in the world would you even consider turning in guns for a few worthless Federal Reserve notes that continually keep losing its value every single day? Your dollar don't have a purchasing value. I mean, just the other day I went to the store and I gave a lady a $100 bill. Now I can remember 20 years ago I could take a $20 bill into a store and I could have came out with a lot of quote unquote goods and services. Now today the $100 bill is spending like the $20 bill did 20 years ago. And that's just letting you know that you've got heavy taxation without representation, and it's not about to stop anytime soon. What you have to do is position yourself, and you need to know how to position yourself. You need to start doing it right now. There are people out here that are preparing communities. There are people out here that are preparing mutual assistance groups. There are people out here that are building a rapport. And most of you are going to find out that doing this and going about this thing is along is one of the worst mistakes you could have ever made in your life. Because you couldn't build a rapport, you couldn't build a relationship, a healthy relationship with people who you can trust. I think if every individual would take a good long look in the mirror and do a personal assessment of themselves, they would see that there's a lot of things that everybody that needs to work on. Every single body needs to work on. But more than anything, you know, in order to be a friend, you must first show yourself friendly. And I sit and watch people over and over again who refuse to change, continue to keep digging in their heels, become non-responsive, going to stay where they are, just not going to change nothing about their character, nothing about their nature whatsoever at all. But in the end, I'm going to tell you what these people are going to want to do. They're going to come and run and bellyache to people like me, to people like Pastor Joe, and to people like a lot of other people out here who are making preparations in these different prepper groups and everything. Who they mocked, derided, and chid, scorned, and ridiculed all their days and stuff, and sit back and just didn't think it was necessary to prepare. But when that belly hit that spine, well, I tell you what, it's really going to talk to you, and it's going to resonate then. The message is going to resonate then. I'm going to tell you right now, I watch people. People watch me, and they have no idea to the level that I watch them. And I'm watching for character. I'm watching for integrity. I'm watching a man or woman. I'm seeing if they're going to be a man or woman of their word, because I promise you, I don't want anybody around me that's going to actually compromise the actual community, to actually compromise the actual core values, the morality that we have around here. You can't get it right within your heart and your spirit. And I'm going to tell all you people out there something real quick, fast, in a hurry. You need to get around and try to find people who you can trust. And I hate to say it, but I know you're going to hate it, but I'm going to say it again. And the number one people you cannot trust is that thing you call family. Very few family members can actually be trusted. Well, anyway, just thought I'd report that to you. It's the truth, and that's the truth straight away. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Hallelujah.